Hello and welcome to the Panorama Now at Noon Facebook Live show and also WVLP show every Friday at noon. With me is an interesting speaker, Preston Ruby, who is a self-employed Gary resident and who's running for mayor of Gary in 2027.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here. Before we get into talking about NIPSCO and the storms, I want you to run past three real quick answers so we can have a little bit of an introduction.
Sure.
How long have you lived in Gary, and tell us about your family that lives in Gary and what motivated you to run for mayor?
So I originally moved to Gary in 2004, and I'll kind of answer both of those questions together, or all three of those questions together, if you don't mind. So I moved here originally in 2004, and I was so broke that it's a funny story. I was so broke I couldn't even rent a trailer. So a friend of mine, we both ended up moving into someone else's trailer and sharing a bedroom there on an IOU.
Oh, wow.
But the story got really good from there because in Gary, Indiana, I ended up getting a job with the Indiana Department of Transportation. I ended up starting my own business. Gary is where I met my wife. We've been together now for 18 years as of November. I opened up my second business in Gary. And so
she lives from Gary.
Right, born and raised in Gary. And so it's really important for me to give back because everything I have comes from Gary.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
And so it's like, because I got my happiness in Gary, I want the people of Gary to have an opportunity at happiness because I had an opportunity at gainful employment in Gary, Indiana. I want the citizens of Gary, Indiana to have those same opportunities to be gainfully employed, to be able to purchase a home, to be able to send their kids to a good school. So
pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness.
And speaking of which, I ended up leaving Gary for a little bit after I got custody of my daughter. We actually went to Chicago because you can't get a good education for your kids in Gary, Indiana. So we ended up leaving Gary so that my daughter could go to school. And we promised we would come back and continue doing what we can for the city of Gary, Indiana, and that's exactly what we did a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay. So, we getting back now into the storms. I don't want to go into the whole devastation because I think everyone's aware of it. If you're not, you've been living under a rock. I know it's really bad in a lot of places, and it's really sad. But you mentioned, I follow you on Facebook, by the way. You mentioned something that a contractor had said on TikTok, and then also I have what a contractor had said on Facebook. So what did this contractor say?
Well, I had an interesting conversation with the contractor in my backyard when they were out working on the poles. And as you're aware of, I've been researching a lot of Indiana code when it comes to vegetation management for NIPSCO and the things that they're supposed to do. And so I was talking to this contractor, and I asked the contractor, because he was from Georgia, and I said, well, do they tell you what the rules are here in Indiana?
Yeah.
And he said, no, they don't tell us that. They keep us in the dark. They don't want us to know the rules because then we'll tell the customers, and they would rather tell their customers what they want to do. So, which is really interesting. So, so I really encourage people to look up various Indiana codes, and if you don't mind, I'll pull
look up your TikTok video and see it for yourself.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's true. There's a huge TikTok video on that, Ruby for Gary, Indiana on TikTok. But there's some Indiana codes real quick while we're talking that I'll pull up that we can cite for people here. Indiana Code 170 IAC 4 through 9, which is the Utility Vegetation Management Standards. That's something really good for people to look up. And then there's a bunch of surrounding codes around there that basically say what NIPSCO and Duke and all these other utility companies are supposed to do. And NIPSCO has it in their own policies that they are to maintain vegetation around all of their utility lines on a 4 to 6 year cycle. And when you look at so many of these...
the trees and the branches. Vegetation, to me, I want to clarify, is branches.
Right.
It's not the tree. It's the branch that grew over the lines. They're hanging over the lines.
Exactly, exactly. And obviously, those are supposed to be cut back before they even get close to the lines.
Right.
So, and that's not happening at
If a
all.
tree limb is 12 inches big, it's been more than 6 years.
Correct. Correct. And these easements that are behind people's homes, these back alley, well, not alley, but they're like backyard easements. We have lots of wooded areas where NIPSCO poles are going through. They're supposed to be able to drive their trucks back there. And when you watch that video, you'll see this pole shifting back and forth in the sand because it's on the dunes.
Yeah.
With a NIPSCO or a NIPSCO subcontractor on top of it, hoping he doesn't fall off because they can't get a truck back there, because bucket trucks, right? They're supposed to use bucket trucks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Exactly.
See, you learned something new.
Yeah, so I mean, they're supposed to have a wide berth around those poles, and they don't have it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For maintenance.
For maintenance, for safety,
Yes.
so that you don't have, and not only that, they are responsible for the maintenance of those easements. So if you have a tree that's on that easement and it falls on your house, remember who's responsible for that when you call your attorney or you call your insurance company. Because NIPSCO needs to be held accountable for these things.
Right. Yeah, I did add the codes to the website for the article we wrote.
Okay, beautiful, good.
So
good.
that's searchable. I wanted to quote. I don't hardly ever do this, but I make an exception here. I did find testimonial from I don't know if it's a man or a woman, from Crown Point. They just got their power back, and they went out and thanked the contractor. He's a subcontractor from out of state, and they had a conversation, and the contractor said that this is the worst he's ever seen.
Oh yeah, and I saw that.
Yeah, and he said that NIPSCO decided to start in the middle and work their way out, which is
Right.
absolute not proper. They had no extra equipment available, like poles, and I'm sure there's a lot of electrical equipment that needs to be ready on standby. And he said this should not have taken this long.
No, it should
And he
not have.
quoted as saying that NIPSCO should be held accountable, but he would not be recorded because he said he would lose his
Correct.
job.
Correct.
So these little testimonials that people are making are important, and people need
They
to
are.
speak out about it. And these were two items that neither you or I had ever seen before. No one had mentioned it before.
Correct.
They didn't have the equipment on
Correct.
hand. That management decisions were not the proper way to do things, and just not having the extra equipment on hand really surprised me. Because, if I can add, they profited $500 million the first 6 months of
This year.
this
yeah.
year, and their CEO makes $12 million plus a year.
Correct. And then also when you look at all of these riders and trackers and things, but primarily this delivery charge.
Yes,
The
the
delivery charge
charge.
is quote unquote for infrastructure. That's how they're explaining it to the public.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, these easements are part of that of the infrastructure of how the electricity is delivered to your home.
well, not only that, but handling a disaster is part of their infrastructure.
Essentially, yes.
So, there's a double standard there as far as what they should be doing and what they have been doing. Now, didn't you tell me that you had called NIPSCO about your property that had limbs that were hanging over the wires and nothing was done?
Correct. Not only that, there is a massive tree in my backyard, and remember, we're on dune land, so it's sand. It's not like really packed soil. So we have a tree that's snapped off at the stump that's leaning on another tree half its size.
Oh,
So, and if it falls, it's either going to go, depending on which angle it falls off the other tree, because it could go either way.
Yeah.
It's either going to go through the neighbor's fence line, or it's going to go right through our deck and into our kitchen. So, yeah, which NIPSCO will have to write a pretty sizable check if that happens.
well, but, isn't it kind of, I don't know, hard to prove, or the law is really not in the favor of the homeowner as far as them taking care of their easement? I've had this big discussion with my husband over and over and over again.
No. The law is very much in the favor. If you look at these
If it's
codes,
on an easement.
if it's on their easement, it's their responsibility to maintain it. Now, let's be real. We
If
got
it
hit by.
damages, but if the tree on the easement damages your home, I think to me it's
The
kind
circumstances are iffy, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm not an attorney. Consult your attorney. This is
Yes.
not legal advice.
exactly.
But the way I'm looking at it, I mean, it's very simple. We had a storm. Okay, it was a tornado. We were bound to have damage. My gripe against NIPSCO is very simple. The damage to the power lines, the damage to people's homes and things like that would have been less if these trees were trimmed.
Exactly.
A tree that is trimmed doesn't swing around as much. A tree that is trimmed doesn't have lines ready to snap that are sitting on top of have limbs that are ready to snap sitting over top of a NIPSCO line. They're supposed to be trimmed back, and they're not. A tree that is trimmed is not as large as a tree that's not trimmed.
Right.
So just because it falls on your property doesn't mean that NIPSCO did something wrong. However, it's also very common sense to say that if NIPSCO had been...
Well, they can be topped. Those trees can be topped.
Exactly.
And
Well, that's true, too.
It won't kill them.
Exactly, and that's true too. But bottom line is that if these trees had been trimmed, anybody with any amount of common sense realizes that the damage to everything would have been far less had the vegetation been properly
Well, now
trimmed.
this leads me into the orange tags that people are getting.
Correct. Yeah. Let me pull that up. Yeah. I'll yeah.
You're lucky
I'll
if
pull this tab
you
up.
don't know what we're talking about. You need to thank yourself and thank your lucky stars. You have not gotten a NIPSCO orange tag on your door, and it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate instances where this is happening, and it's happening a lot over in Gary.
Yeah, so it's an orange tag that says damage to your electric service connection. The electric service connection on your property has been damaged. In order for NIPSCO to safely restore your power, please take the following steps. Contract a licensed electrician to make repairs to your service connection. Ask your electrician if electrical inspection is required. Once repairs are completed, call such and such number. And then when you go to the fine print at the bottom, it says that you have to hire a licensed, bonded, and insured electrician. And the prices just went...
Yeah,
Big
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Big time.
We were talking that the electrician could be $2,000, the generator could be $1,000, and the loss of pay
Correct.
could be thousands.
Well,
Thousands.
And so here's my beef with that. Because the rule that they're operating off of is correct.
Yeah, it is.
If your weatherhead or something attached to your house, directly attached to your house is damaged, that is your property. You're responsible for that. However, if you have their line running into your weatherhead, and this is the most common damage is the weatherhead. And the weatherhead is the little stack that comes from your meter box through your roof that the line goes into. So if that's the most common damage, and the reason why is because you have trees on NIPSCO easements that have fallen onto these lines and ripped the lines so hard that the weatherhead gets ripped.
Yes.
So here's my principled interpretation. Pro se, I'm not a lawyer, right? So if you have a car, and we talked about this before, so I'm just going to run it in front of them.
Yeah.
If you have a car, it's your property, right? You're responsible for the maintenance of that car.
You're a homeowner.
Right.
Homeowner's insurance.
Okay. Now, if you hit somebody with your car, who pays for your car? You or your insurance, right?
Yeah.
But if somebody else hits your car, who pays?
The other insurance.
Correct.
Supposedly.
Now let's involve a tree. You pull underneath my tree in front of my house. Tree belongs to me. It's not under NIPSCO easement. It belongs to me. My limb falls down and hits your car.
It's your fault.
My fault.
Your
So if a
responsibility.
NIPSCO easement tree falls, crashes through the line, or the limb falls and crashes through the line, and it damages your weatherhead,
Right.
whose fault is it based upon that line of thinking?
It should be NIPSCO.
NIPSCO's fault, exactly. And so that beef, that's one of two beefs I have about this. The other beef I have is with this outage lasting this long. They say right now, there are studies that say on a national average, the average American citizen right now has to go into credit if they blow a tire. They're living that much paycheck to
Credit
paycheck.
card, yeah.
So right now, citizens across Northwest Indiana and in Gary, where I'm running for mayor next year, all right, they have not been able to get to work for a week or two, many of them. So there goes $1,000 to $2,000. Boom.
Right.
They just had to spend $1,000 to $1,500 on a generator. There's $3,000. And then they're spending like right now, between my house and my in-laws are spending like $100 a day in fuel. So we'll say it's probably $50 a day in fuel so that's $500 in fuel. Basically, everybody's out probably like $4,000 at this point. Somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000 depending on the household income.
Right.
And now they're supposed to pay
Not
$1,000 or $1,500 to have a weatherhead repaired.
Right, not including food damage and food loss.
Exactly.
So, but you called NIPSCO and wanted the branch removed, and they never did come out and do it.
Oh, no. And we had a huge tree that's getting ready to fall on the house, like I was saying before. Yeah. So they came out, said it's not their responsibility, which it is. And I've got a surveyor's map of where my property line ends. My property line ends 25 feet behind my deck. Yeah. This tree's out 35 feet, and so it's definitely in their easement, which is the property behind mine. So, and their easement is city-owned property that they're using, and that establishes them, and the legal term is easement holder. And when you're the easement holder, it is your legal responsibility to maintain that easement. So I called the city, and here's the interesting part, and all I can do is interpret what this means at this point. I'm not the mayor right now, but basically, the city said that they were behind 5 years in tree cutting services. That was their general services department. So to me, that says that they're trying to keep up with NIPSCO's job.
Yeah.
Why is the city not enforcing what's going on with NIPSCO? Or excuse me, why is the city not enforcing Indiana code on NIPSCO? Now, I'll leave that up to Gary's citizens to figure that out on their own, but I would highly suggest looking into our elected officials' campaign contributions. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you can look that up too. Another thing that's come up, and a lot of this is obvious to people, but I still think it's worth mentioning that NIPSCO hasn't been very transparent. They haven't been very communicatively talking with people, talking with the mayors. Just what's going on? What's happening?
I mean, I can't tell you. I could just guess. And again, that just says, I mean, if you're not willing to enforce the Indiana code, they can do whatever they want. I gave this analogy to a friend of mine. It's like, if you come into my house, shoot me, and take everything I got and leave, does it really matter if there's a law against theft and robbery and murder if nobody arrests you? So we can have all the Indiana code we want, but if it's not enforced, then what good is it? Now, why it's not being enforced? Again, people got to figure that out on their own. I have my ideas, and I'm not going to sit here and beat up on the mayors of Gary, Hammond, or anywhere else. I'm not here for that, and I don't want to politicize that. This situation right now.
Right.
But
I think there should be an independent study of all these things we've been talking about: the storm recovery, the equipment that they had on hand, the number of trucks they have on hand, the number of linemen they have on hand. NIPSCO's territory is huge. We looked that up one time, and it's like almost 1 million homes.
And I will say this on behalf of the current administration in Gary. Unlike NIPSCO, they have been responsive. I have called the city. I have called our leaders.
They've had press conferences.
And they are working with people, and they are getting volunteers, and they are doing everything they can with the amount of resources that Gary has, which, due to past leadership, really, it's not surprising that they don't have many resources.
It's just not there.
Yeah.
And one thing I did want to point out also is that, to me, it's very suspicious that they actually canceled the Gary Air Show. And
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think? But
no, I would have canceled the Gary Air Show.
Yeah, I know, but they knew these repairs were not going to be done when they canceled it. They had to have known.
No.
They had to have experts, NIPSCO experts, tell them this isn't going to be done.
Well, exactly, and that's why I would imagine why they canceled it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't even know that it's been canceled. I just wanted to put that out there so people could know that it's been canceled.
Yeah.
Now, another question, and this is another one of those things that's going to come up. Seniors that have had problems, the expenses we're talking about, laid off workers, hardship cases, shouldn't they get a credit on their NIPSCO bill?
Well, I would imagine that NIPSCO is going to have to give a credit to everybody whose power hasn't been working. You can't bill people for what they haven't received. What I'm actually looking to see NIPSCO try to do
Yeah, I think they will.
is try to still charge the delivery or their infrastructure fees and
Well,
things
there's
like
a
that.
customer fee, there's a delivery
Correct.
fee, there's
So-
transportation fee,
Correct.
and all those fees are going to stay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm. Yep, that's the next move that I'm guessing that they'll make is they won't charge for electric, but they'll still try to charge the infrastructure fees, and of course
Right.
they're going to charge for gas because gas still has been going through. So
Oh,
my
okay.
stove works, so they're going to charge me for the gas. But it's amazing with what we're paying. Our last
Yeah.
NIPSCO bill was $800, and it's in the summertime. So
Wow, that's pretty high.
well,
Yeah, and
we do have a relatively sizable house.
oh, okay.
So
Air conditioned.
yes.
And how many people?
Well, there's only two of us now.
Two. Okay.
Yeah, so
So all those things go into play. Your square footage, how many people are living there, your lifestyle,
Yeah.
if it's insulated. That sounds a little high,
yeah.
to tell you the truth, because I have two people in my house. So moving on, I think we can move on now. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention about this topic?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we need to hold NIPSCO accountable.
Yeah.
Can I mention the protest?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. So ultimately, we need to hold NIPSCO accountable. That only happens in the court of public opinion, right? Citizens have to speak out. Citizens have to get angry, peacefully angry, folks. Okay, but we have to get upset about this. We have to be
Right.
loud about this. We need to
Yeah.
call our state senators. We need to call our state representatives. We need to bug the mayor's office. Please don't bug the mayor's office right now. They're buried enough. I will say that. But when this is over, we need to call and hassle the mayor's office and the senator's office and the House rep and the governor's office and
Yeah.
and every office of leadership that there is
Right.
that's applicable, and say, look, we need to hold NIPSCO accountable. We need to be applying pressure on the IURC, who regulates NIPSCO and who protects NIPSCO's monopoly. And who can take away NIPSCO's monopoly, and that's what most people don't understand.
Right.
The IURC gives NIPSCO the monopoly it has, and they can take that monopoly away too. And ultimately, what I would like to see,
But they have voted, the IURC has voted in favor of NIPSCO for the last 50 years in a row.
I will say this, from what I read, Braun did fire the chairman of the IURC.
Yeah, but he's also taking it to court. Did you know that?
Did I know what?
That he's taking it to court. He's protesting his firing. He says it's illegal.
Good luck with that. Braun and I have had a few conversations, and Braun's no slouch, so
Right.
have fun with that one.
Yeah.
But the fact is we got to get active. So Ruby, Fort Gary, Indiana, and and hopefully NIPSCO Monopoly Madness. I haven't gotten confirmation on their part yet, but we teamed up on the last one, so I assume we'll be teaming up on this one, I hope.
Well, there's
But-
also my website, nwiutilities.com.
All right, so all three of us, hopefully. So it'll be you and me, and hopefully NIPSCO Monopoly Madness too.
Yep.
We'll be teaming up on
NIPSCO Resistance.
teaming
also,
up on September. We changed the date.
to 29th.
No. We moved it into September. I believe it's September.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh,
I sent
okay.
you a text. We moved it.
Okay.
So, yeah, it just wasn't the right time. We need to focus on helping our neighbors before we start beating up on NIPSCO.
Right.
So we moved it to September the 12th at 2 p.m.
Oh, okay.
And that's going to be at 1460 East 15th Avenue. So it's going to be at their 15th Avenue location. So we're going to be doing a protest over there. I imagine after everything that's going on that It's going to be a pretty sizable protest.
Well, let's
but again,
hope.
peaceful, folks. It's
Yes.
going to be peaceful.
And there will be media there, and we are going to allow citizens to speak.
Correct.
And
yes.
you can sign up to be a speaker, and we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, you could just message my campaign page, Ruby for Gary, Indiana, on Facebook. Give me a quick message there, and we'll make sure your name goes on the list.
Yeah, sounds good. Now, we were going to also talk about your plans for Gary.
Okay, so I think we have 5 minutes left, is what he said?
10 minutes.
10 minutes left, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so now, these are not going to be posted until the general election next year, so I'll let you see them. I'll go into it briefly, but one thing that I have found in the past is that when I publicize my ideas,
Yep.
people get a hold of them and say that they're their ideas. And before I didn't mind because I wasn't running for office.
Right.
Now I mind because I'm running for office.
They'll copy them.
And well, they'll copy them and then they'll mess them up.
Mm-hmm.
So so which is even worse. So I have several plans, including the Business Growth and Development Act of 2028, which basically what that does for the city of Gary, that's going to bring jobs and it's going to bring commercial tax base. Right now, anytime a business tries to come into Gary, Indiana, it is a nightmare to go through the regulatory process. Most of them give up. I'm not going
It
to.
shouldn't be. I mean, Valpo went through and streamlined theirs.
Exactly,
Made it
and that's
easier.
how it needs to be because we
Yeah.
have to compete for business, we have to compete for jobs,
You need to
and
use
we have to
Valpo as
compete
an
for commercial
example.
tax
You can use
base.
Valpo as an example
Right.
for that.
Gary, Indiana used to have a population of 180,000 people.
I know. I know.
Well, I'm
It's,
saying it for for the audience.
yeah.
And so 180,000 people, now they have less than 60,000. They're trying to say it's 67,000. Don't believe that number. It's less than 60,000 people now with a median household income of 35,000 a year. So how does that tax base support street lights, infrastructure,
It doesn't.
government buildings and everything for that used to accommodate 180,000
Yes,
people? It
yes.
doesn't work.
Yeah,
The math doesn't jive, and you can't penny pinch your way back to victory on that. So you
Right.
have to bring in business, you have to bring in commercial tax base, which is obviously worth more than residential tax base. Commercial tax base is 3%, residential is 1%, right? So basically what this does is this streamlines the regulatory process, and anytime a business owner tries to come into Gary, Indiana, they get assigned a liaison. And so instead of that business owner who's never worked in our system before trying to figure out his or her way through it,
Right.
go through a crazy RFP process, permit processes that take forever. And by the way, part of this says that permit processes are 60 days or less, or it's free. But they get the liaison. And that liaison, they'll do it over and over again for business owners, and those liaisons will become experts at our regulatory process.
Oh, yeah.
So that it is streamlined for any business that
That
wants to
makes
come
sense.
in. Boom, boom, boom,
I
jobs.
know Whining was landlocked, and they increased their tax base by bringing in business.
And the next piece of this is that, and let's be real, I know people don't want to give tax abatements to businesses. You have to. I'm not going to beat up on mayors that
Right.
give tax abatements. You have to compete.
Right.
What we're going to do is we're going to change how abatements work. Abatements will be centered around how many Gary citizens you hire. That's how it's
Exactly.
going to be centered
Exactly.
around. And if you're willing to train Gary citizens to work. But all of this
Yeah.
is in writing.
That's a good
Susie
idea.
can see it right here. It's all in writing. This is a plan that has been formulated,
Well,
put
that's one
together,
thing
and
that's
ready to
happened.
go.
That's one thing that's happened at the data centers in Hobart. They have not put anywhere that the employees are going to be Hobart citizens. Nowhere.
Nope, of course not. Of course not.
And they're
Because
not
they're not
gonna
worried
be.
about that. See,
Yeah.
so my campaign, just so folks know, and it's a great reason to donate, my campaign does not take money from special interests, period. I know people hear that all the time. Mine doesn't. My campaign at this point is mostly funded by me. I'm not rich, so we're going to get it mostly funded through fundraisers and by people showing up. But
And you
I'm
have
not
a
taking
fundraiser
any.
coming up in October.
Correct. Yes, I have. Well, it's actually
October 13th.
October 20. Let me take a look here, and we'll pull that up real fast.
Okay.
While we're running out of time
I
here.
know. I wrote it down somewhere.
Yeah, so it's on my Facebook website.
Okay. It's been crazy. My phone's just blowing up.
Exactly.
All the things that are going on.
Yeah, it's October the. I'll have to, I'm gonna have to look later. I can't even find. It's either the 14th or the 28th, and I don't remember because we moved it back and forth so much.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
just
think-
watch his Facebook page for that.
Oh, there it is. October 14th.
Okay.
Tiny's Coffee Bar in Gary, Indiana, at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So things have been a little hectic with the storm and everything, and things have been moved around all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that, but yeah.
Right, that's
so
okay.
6 p.m. Tiny's Coffee Bar. You can get tickets online. But bottom line is, the reason why that's important is because I will not take money from NIPSCO. I will not take money from the Hard Rock. I will not take money from any type of special interest that is not bringing jobs to the people of Gary, Indiana. And not to say the Hard Rock doesn't, but I want blue-collar, living wage jobs for the city that bring GDP, not so much giving things away to entertainment industry folks.
I did want to add something to not put a damper on, the positivity here, but you and I both know Valencia, and she's been on the ground, boots on the ground in Gary, and going around to the citizen projects where a lot of senior citizens live. And I hope we can get a story out on this. She found a homeless woman living in her car is making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and feeding the people in the projects.
Wow. And it's always the people that have less that do the most. You ever
Right.
notice that? Yeah. Yeah.
And that just blew my mind. That needs to be done, and that it's one woman on her own taking that on, and it's these people can't get any meals.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I mean, good for her. And,
Yeah.
And really, that's, our campaign actually stopped campaign operations, by the way, recently. This interview is a bit of an exception because we're talking about the NIPSCO crisis.
Right,
So,
right.
we were willing
Yeah.
to do that. But we've been out. You can look at my face and see, I'm all sunburnt and everything, and still probably a little dirty. But, we're out cutting trees down and stuff. That's where we're focused at. And hopefully I'll be helping out the administration. I've still got my CDL, so I'll probably volunteer to drive a truck, if that becomes available, to move debris out and stuff like that. And that's what myself and my team and members of the Gary GOP are doing. Democrats and Republicans working together, and that's what it should be right now.
Yeah.
We'll duke it out next year. This year we need to be helping each other out and working for our community. So we'll be able to get it. I think we're about out of time now.
Gary, Indiana. Preston Ruby, I'm sorry. How you like that name?
I think I'll keep mine. Mine's a little bit more unusual, so it's more marketable.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for being here. It was really interesting, and we'll probably have you back again next year when the campaign is going on further. And I think everyone can agree the fact that there's a lot of improvement that needs to be done in Gary, and it's been underutilized and underserviced for many, many, many years. There's been corruption, and it's like almost every single mayor has corruption, and it's incredible.
And next time around, maybe we'll be able to talk about that.
Okay.
The Gary Utility Affordability and Energy Independence Plan. I do plan to municipally hold NIPSCO accountable for what it does.
Well, that's one thing that we came up in our protest we did, was that the municipality can have their own
absolutely.
utility. And it's not that hard
Well,
to do. It's not that complicated.
We can't have our own utility. You can take over the infrastructure. There are things that you can do, but you have to be able to afford to do it. But there are other options that we can get into later with the IURC and word time now with attorneys and other things. There's lots of things that can be done, but yeah, I don't want to end this show by saying we can have our own utility. It's not quite that simple.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, John Allen was very involved in that, and also he has his own show in Gary. And
Yes, he does.
I highly suggest following him as well.
Absolutely, yes. John Allen's a very, very well-educated individual who
Very-
I talk to quite a bit.
Yeah, very knowledgeable, and if you want to stay informed, follow him as well.
Correct.
He's got a lot of stuff he works on.
Yeah, I actually told him that I wanted him to be the head of my advisory board. And he said to me, Preston, he said, why would you want me as the head of your advisory board when I inherently disagree with most of what you say? I said, that's exactly why I want you there.
Right, yeah.
I don't need people I
Right.
don't need yes people.
Right.
I need people who are educated, know what they're doing, and aren't afraid to speak up.
Right,
So,
exactly.
and that's definitely John Allen.
Oh,
So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
And we'll see you on the September 12th.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
And if not sooner, thank you so much for being here.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Okay.
All right. Bye.